We're live. Welcome everyone. Today we're going to talk about when. When is the economy going to collapse? That's what the topic of today is, of course. You're welcome to ask any question you desire, but I want to look at that today. I want to talk about that. We'll wait a few minutes for people to get on in. I got my control panel up here. See how many people are heading into the chat. All right. Hi from Alberta. I have my trading accounts at a Canadian bank. What happens if the bank goes insolvent? They tell you that everything is fine for insured accounts. Look into it. Is the account insured? If it is, the CDIC will bail you out up into a certain amount, but who knows? Who really knows? Money GPS for the win. How are you? Yes, the bail-ins. The bail-ins are extremely dangerous. Talked about it a long time ago. I think it was actually in Brisbane, Australia, 2014, but I could be wrong. When the G20 actually, they all agreed. They all agreed to that. Let's see if I can get my window sharing over here. I want to show you something. There we go. See if this works. There we are. Hope everybody can see that. I got the chat up on this screen. Let's see. Hello from Venezuela. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for joining in. Actually, I'd love to look at this. If I can get this to come up on the screen. Venezuela. 1 second here. There's been so many. Sergio, if you can hear me, tell us what it's like. Is what you see in the news, what you see on the videos online, is it accurate? Please share with my subscribers here, and I will put that. I will make sure to pin that post up here. I will take Money GPS for 1,000 now. Not like the FDIC that covers 250,000 per account. Yeah, it depends on you gotta watch that. But I don't think it's safe personally. But that's just me. Which stocks are good to short in your opinion? This is a difficult one. And I don't want to necessarily point out anything, and there is an opportunity for anything at any moment, whether that's to buy, whether that's to short. Got to be aware of that. But I can't give any particular financial advice. Okay. Venezuela is paradise. Are you in Venezuela? Okay, good stuff, guys. Okay, so we got about 130 people in here. I'm just going to get to this presentation really quickly. It's just one page. All right. Let me show you if I can. Share this screen quickly, guys. Let me just show you, because this is something that people ask me all the time. So I wanted to touch on it. Okay. When will the economy collapse? Okay, so I just wanted to note a few things. So, this screen is the wrong one. There we go. That's better. All right. Let's look at this. What will trigger a collapse? We need to see a catalyst event, something that unravels the system. This could be derivatives, higher interest rates, bank failures, tech bubble burst, real estate falling significantly, and commercial real estate failures, just to name a few. All of these things right now are looking fragile. They are looking weak. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to collapse, though. Once the selling pressure takes over, a spiral ensues very quickly. More retail investors will then pour in. So they see the dip, they go to buy it. But they don't understand, because they're not the sophisticated investors. They just see the price coming down, but they don't understand the structural issues. That's why you get a dead cat bounce. The debt cap bounce becomes apparent and the sophisticated investors take it down further. So they start shorting, they start moving their assets all around, and the retail investor freaks out. Right now, today, real deflationary forces are taking hold. That is offset by central bank and government stimulus. You can see it losing its effects. As the programs dissipate, deflation pulls harder, okay? This is a step-by-step process which those who are paying attention can largely pinpoint. Do you understand what I'm saying here? So this is not going to happen overnight. You're going to wake up and everything is different. No, it happens in stages. Just like you saw in 2008, this happened in stages. Okay, the exact same thing will happen the next time and the next time and the next time beyond that. So if we are aware, if we are really studying this every day, for those on the Money GPS watching, I know you know what I'm talking about here. We can see each step of the way. Doesn't mean we're going to know all of the intricacies as it happens, but we have the general theme and we can figure this out. Okay. All right. Can you see me on Twitter? Yes, I do see you. Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube all at once. I was rejected from LinkedIn. Apparently I'm not good enough, they said. So can't do live on LinkedIn. Sorry. All right. Venezuelans are fleeing to Peru, I've heard, yes, into Colombia and others. All right. Yeah, WW3, I know exactly what you mean. Variant of interest. Who knows, right? They can use any excuse, really, but remember, I'm talking about the economy. I'm talking about the economy here, not the stock market. And I think that's the distinction I want to make right now. When we're talking about the collapse, yes, the stock market can collapse. The stock market can crash. It can correct. Whatever name you want to use and the percentages of which, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the economy. And you could see naturally the economy is extremely weak. You have over 40 million people in the United States that are on food stamps today. How many people are milking the system? How many people don't really need to be on it? I'm sure there are people, for sure. But you know there's a serious problem when there's people lining up at the food banks, all kinds. You see people that are really struggling to live right now. And at the same time, you have others that are making billions and trillions of dollars. Nokia earnings, didn't even know they still existed. Can the Fed just buy it all up? Yes, they can. They can buy absolutely everything. They could buy the debt of every single country. They could buy the stock in every single country. The only problem is that they end up buying with confetti. And does anybody want to take the confetti? Perhaps. Maybe. All right, we got 225 people in here. I want to thank everybody for being here today. Hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button because we're going to figure out this algorithm. I'm bringing in traffic from the outside. Look, I got stuff going on Instagram and Twitter. Let me put that banner up right now. I got daily stuff. And this is, okay, so I know you're feeling about the Money GPS. You like it, you watch it, but your friends and family, touchy subject. You don't want to send them anything. So now I am creating stuff on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and all this. That's going to be funny and real stuff too, but it's going to be much more, let's just say not a 15-minute video about the economy. You're going to get different stuff happening. That's what I'm doing for you guys. I hope that this gives you content to share so that they see the Money GPS and now suddenly start asking some more questions. They could dig into a little deeper. I'm giving out those memes and things. I'm trying to do more like memes, funny stuff, but it makes people think like about inflation and about all these other things so that they start asking the right questions. They come to the Money GPS. They don't even have to necessarily go to you, but they start going to the Money GPS and figuring it all out. I'm going to try to reprogram this algorithm. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got here. Property ownership requires maintenance and taxes. Is gold and silver the only asset that can preserve your wealth without maintenance and costs? Yeah, it has no counterparty risk. It has many advantages, but the real estate also has its own advantages too. Yes, you have to maintain the property, but that's why you don't have to pay tax on it if you do it properly. That's the difference, right? Yes, there's property taxes, but your property taxes are an expense. I hope people realize that. Property taxes are an expense. Everything is an expense. Depreciation is an expense, meaning the property is basically, the infrastructure is eroding, so they give you money back as a result. It's an interesting way. That's why certain people, you've heard about them in the news, they didn't have to pay any taxes. There's nothing they can do about it. Love from Utah. Joshua, thank you. Farmland, yes. Absolutely. Any type of farmland, even if you don't want to have any. I know somebody that has a farm, and they, it's more of a hobby thing, he says. And, they have the chickens and some goats, and they want some eggs to have and things. It's not like that serious, but he's got the land. And he can turn that up a notch if he needs to. The defense budget, yeah, well, obviously. That's where your tax, I don't think people realize this. You think your tax dollars go to the roads and to the education? I mean, if you think that, you gotta wake up. Really, truly, you have to wake up. All right. Now, if you're watching right now and you didn't catch what I covered a few minutes ago, I talked about when the economy will collapse. I covered a quick little presentation that I had. Definitely watch the replay if you can. This is important because we're talking about the economy collapsing, and that's going to be very frightening, much more frightening than you see with the stock market. All right. The economy will crash when the debt market explodes and interest rates rise. It is absolutely possible. Nope, no roads. Predictions on Friday for the markets. It's been really bullish, except for basically 2 days, but it did dip down to its 50-day moving average on the S&P. Here we go. Bubblegum, thanks for that pro tip on property tax theft. That's right. Tax. I love that. Thank you for the support. Yes, it is absolutely true. And for those listening right now, I mean, I've talked about this before, but you have to understand this. So if you live in an area or you're looking to buy a property that has a stream, a river, a lake, ocean, whatever, or it's considered like conservation area, look into it, okay? Not if you're in a suburb, if you're in the middle of the city, not going to qualify. But in one of these areas, you may actually get your property tax back. They may give you a rebate because you basically have to protect that land. So look into that. You could be getting your property tax back. There's a lot of people, or maybe you were going to decide to move to this place. Oh, but if you move this place, no property tax. Yes, you got to pay it and they pay you back. Or in some cases, if you have one animal on your property, they are going to consider that agricultural property, and you get, I think it's 75% of the tax back. All of these, what I'm telling you right now, depends on where you live. So you got to look into it. You got to ask the right people, but be aware. That's a tip for you. All the Money GPS, all of the people who join me on the lives get the real stuff, okay? Because this is the hardcores right here. Thank you all for joining in. Now, thank you very much for the support here. I live in Alberta. Should I buy a house and acreage to establish self-sustaining living or wait for the housing market to collapse? This is my opinion. Do not take my opinion. Just take the information. If you can afford the payments, then it's a wise move because you're going to try to buy in, at this time, what's happening in the economy at that time. You cannot be aware of all the steps exactly as it happens in the way that you want it to happen. So if you can do it now, my opinion, I would do it because that way you're more secure, you're more safe and sound. You get your interest rate locked in as long as you can and make those payments, pay the debt down, and do your best. That's what I would do. Because then, by the time, if, as things get worse, which likely they will as interest rates rise, you've already established yourself. You've got the acreage. You might have, if you eat animals or whatever, you want to have those animals on the property. You've got your big garden set up. You've got all kinds of greenhouses. That's already established by the time things get really bad. I hope that's a good answer for you. If you need any more information, please let me know. Money GPS, should I invest in gold given it will be worthless with asteroid mining? I would say they're way, way ahead of themselves in what they pretend that they're able to do. When they have trouble mining the Earth here, they're going to be able to mine an asteroid in space. I don't know. I would not worry about that right now at all. Personally, that's me. Gold, silver, fitness. Definitely fitness is one that we don't talk about a lot. I would love to though. Keep exposing the truth no matter where it leads. That's right. Thank you for that. I will continue to bring out these videos. If you look at the performance on the last video I did, to me, that was such a huge video talking about what's happening with the weather patterns and so on. I couldn't get into the details of what may be happening underlying that. But look, people need to be aware of the food supply. They need to be aware of what's happening around them, understand the derivatives that are connected to it in this financial system, and see how that impacts them in their job, in their 401k, their retirement account, or RSPs or supers, depending on where they live. But no, they don't want that. They want tickers. Come on, GPS. You got to give the tickers, GPS. This channel would be at over 1 million subscribers if I would just read off tickers. There's a few channels I've seen, actually, multiple channels that have been very successful. And basically all they do is read some tickers and tell you that it's time to buy. I could show you the analysis of the markets if you really want. I did that for the past few days. Nobody seemed to be interested, so I wasn't sure if you guys like it. Whatever you want this channel to be, I'll make it that channel. It's always going to be the truth. But if you want to see some specific information, let me know. That's why I'm doing this here. I'm trying to find out what you need. What do you need? So we can do that. We can work with it. What's happening? Dustin, you tell me what's happening. Reading anything other than tickers lately. Yeah, that's for sure. You're getting quite good at fooling the algos. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that sometimes because the channel has what's called lower authority, and this lower authority basically makes me less likely to pop up on the recommended. But I'm trying my best. I noticed you mentioned Rothschild a lot. Yeah, I know. So you got to understand what the Rothschilds have done historically. If you read about the Rothschilds' history, then you would know. You would know what they're up to. Funding both sides of the wars. The Rothschilds are partially responsible for the creation of not just the Federal Reserve, but other central banks. Understand the central bank connection, and then you'll know for real. All right. Did you sell your soul, GPS? I know Kevin O'Leary got 3 Sell my soul. 6 hours before McAfee goes live? Is this happening? All right. Is the Earth flat? I don't know. I've never been outside into space, so I can't tell you. I can only tell you what I know for certain. I can't speculate. So, are we gonna that content was actually not allowed on the platform? I don't know if you guys are aware of that. You have good content. Keep it up. Thank you very much. Innovate, basically the modern day banking system. I don't know if an innovation in the banking system is ever good, because they created, number one, they created the fractional reserve banking. Then they went off to derivatives. There's no real, like, a bank is should be a pretty simple system. You take your savings, you take your money, you put it in their vault, they keep it for you, and the way it should be, they charge you a fee for that. But instead they said, give it to us for free and come back when you need it. But things have changed, right? Things have really changed. They do the fractional reserve banking. And how did that all happen? Like, how does fractional reserve banking happen? Well, there's a crisis. So they realize, okay, crisis. Everybody, don't touch your money. It's going to stay here in this vault. We're going to be able to now loan out more than what we have. And that's okay, because later on we're going to rein that back in. And then what happens? Everybody forgets about it. It's just the way it goes. All right. The droughts, yeah. This is regardless about the droughts, it's going to impact the prices people pay of food. Does the money you earn buy the same quantity of foods today when of? Sorry, I'm not sure, Mike, what if you didn't finish that sentence there. Will commercial-backed securities be the derivatives that destroy the economy again? Commercial mortgage-backed securities, you're saying? Just like the residential debt. Yeah, it is absolutely possible, because when I look at what's been happening over this period, I think it's pretty clear that there won't be that resurgent strength like we had in previous, they call it like the way that the terms they use anyway, it doesn't matter. So what I would say is it is absolutely possible commercial real estate is the weakest link, whether that's through the office side or retail. It's weak either way. It's extremely weak. All right. Is fractional reserve banking even a thing? I understand the banking system is not limited when creating new loans. They have to have a certain amount of reserves. Bring a larger water pipe from the East Coast to the West Coast. Yeah, I mean, whatever it is, I'm not an expert of the subject, but there's got to be a solution. It's not like this is just going to stop this year. You're funding dropping things from 30,000 feet up in the sky, your tax dollars. Instead, they're not fixing the problems around you. I mean, it's nonsense. Unless they really didn't care about you. But can't say that stuff. People get real triggered. So, all right. Have you researched into the ETFs in GME, AMC hedge funds are shorting a bunch of ETFs? Nothing to do with that. I mean, there's a lot of talk on Reddit. I don't. When the whole craze was going on the Reddit thing, I popped in there to see what it was, and I was actually frightened by what people think is true. And whenever I see certain terms being used, I get worried about people because they're just believing the wrong thing. Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your support of my work. Thank you. I appreciate that. If you have any questions, let me know. I can answer your question. I'm thankful for everybody that donates. Should I retire now and collect my pension before everything collapses? I mean, it depends on your, there's so much to that. If you're able to just work right now, because the thing is, they could slash your pension tomorrow. And then where is your income coming in? Everybody should have more than one source of income. You got to have, the more sources of income you have, the more streams of income, the more flows you got, the better. Even if that flow is $50 a month, that's fantastic. Do they want to control the food supply and encourage the intake of lesser poultry? I think they want people eating those fake meats, lab-grown meats. I think that's probably the future they'll push on everybody. And I'll tell you the way they'll do this. You're going to go to your favorite restaurant, fast food restaurant, and there's going to be one choice. It's at a reasonable price. That's fake meat. The real meat, it's triple the price. What do you think some people are going to try? They're going to say, you know what, let me just try it. I'll see what it's like. They try it. Hey, it's deep fried. Not bad. I'll have that. So what? And that's how they do it. You make it prohibitively expensive for people to do that thing, and they're forced to do the other. You know what I mean? All right. I'm reading the Money GPS book. Awesome, Edgar. That's awesome. Do me a favor, and anybody that's listening to this, if you have your Money GPS book, when you're done, give it to somebody else. You don't even have to tell them to buy another copy. Okay? Give that book to somebody else, please. That's my request for everybody, because then we can share this information. Imagine if everybody read the Money GPS book. Think about how different the world would be. Really. And I'm not trying to say anything about my book. It's basic information when you think about it. But now you have this foundation of knowledge about the history of money, about how central banks are created, and about all the problems that have been going on. It would change so much. It would change so much. I know a lot of people don't like reading today, so fortunately, that's just the way it is. All right. Thank you very much for your support here. Who is at the top? Okay. It depends on who you ask. It depends on how much at the top you want to go. The very very top, there's faceless and nameless entities, but I would say from what we see today, if you go about, let's say, 3, 4, 5 levels down from the top, that's kind of your central bankers, your politicians, at about 5 levels down from the top. Then you go up into like the royalty, and you look at the secret societies. They're sort of all in there. I mean, I've seen charts and things trying to define it and make it very specific. I don't think that's the case. I think it's much more sort of disjointed like that. But if you want to think about it, you just look at who is meeting up with who's going to these big events like the Bilderberg. These groups, these people, they're fairly high up. They're probably within that top 5 levels. So I would say, you got to look into it. I'm struggling with the words here because I'm not allowed to discuss it on the platform. But there's a lot of information out there. Once you go to like secret societies, you look at the black nobility, you look at, the Freemasons are like one of the lower ones. It goes higher than the 30. Once you go above the 33rd degree, then you get into the real levels. There's all these different groups that are out there, and I think if you look into it, you'll find some more information. Do not believe the hype. Do not believe there's one institution that controls it all. There's 13 people sitting at a table and they're deciding exactly what's what. I think it's much more compartmentalized in how things work. But I hope that answers your question. Probably had about 50 people unsubscribe from me, but it's all good. What do you think happens when people go back to work? The level of help on science is insane. Also, the ending of the extra employment money ends soon. That's the big thing. I would say that is the biggest thing right now, because what's happening is that for a lot of people, they're saying unemployment's paying me more. I'm not going to go back to work. Whether you agree with that or not, that's what I believe for some people that's happening. So I think for a lot of people, if they were to simply not have that income coming in, they're going to take jobs maybe that they don't want. Maybe they'll quit soon after. Maybe there's going to be high turnover and so on. But if there's not that stimulus coming in, people will have to do something to make money. I don't know what that's going to be, but it's just the way it is. Organic change in our perspective is what the elites want. David, as an extension of the land buying question, if you are risk off on equities, would you say the same for buying a starter home condo if you have 20% down, or land is a different story? Land is completely different, I'll tell you that. Yes, you can go in with a 20% down on the home, and if you can make the payments, so this is what you need to understand for real estate, especially in the US, this works very well. Does the property cash flow? Is there rent control in that area? Rent control is a big problem for the landlord, okay? And how are the rights for landlords versus the tenants? In some places, you can have a squatter on your property forever, and you're basically responsible to pay all the bills. Other places, you can boot them out. So I'm saying this as an economic, not what you should do or what you should not do. Remember that. This is not my opinion. I'm just talking about the economic aspect of it. And so in that case, if the price is affordable, if it cash flows, if you can make those payments, should the tenant not make the payments, and what are the vacancies like in this area? Are there other renters in the area? Are jobs coming into the area? What do the permits look like? What do any of the other statistics? You're going to be, if you're in the US, you're going to be able to lock that in for 25, 30 years, whatever it is. And so you've got that interest rate set. You can, manage all your numbers. Everything's all good. So that's the way I would look at it. Wow, we are already at 30 minutes, guys. We got 400 people in here right now, and over 2,200 people have been in the room. They got in and out. All right. Now, if anybody has, of course, any other questions, I want to end this maybe in 10 minutes or so if I can, but you know how the Money GPS loves to rant on. All right. I'll try to get through quickly. Don't buy swampland. Yeah, watch the areas you're buying into. Should I buy a house now? Please let me know what you think. So I kind of got into that in the previous question. I hope that answers your question. All right. Oh my goodness, there's so many. California. Okay. Raw land, they want 40% down. It depends on the area. Sometimes they, you can get an area that's somebody just not using that piece of land. It's just completely unused. Maybe the guy has whatever, 1,000 acres. He'll sell you an acre. He'll sell you 10 acres, whatever it might be, right? So you don't have to necessarily do it the conventional way. Are we getting a spammer in the room? Can you stop spamming, please? Let's talk about the economy. Let's talk about the stock market. Let's talk about food. Let's talk about preparation. Let's not talk about silliness right now. We don't need that in here. Got to leave. Yeah, absolutely. See you soon. I'm going to end this. I'm going to end it pretty soon. So thank you. Crash or transition? Well, I mean, the economy, look, if you take away the stimulus, this is going to crash, and it's going to crash hard. It's going to crash very, very hard, okay? There's no way. There's just no way to put it. Imagine just a small increase in the interest rates, what that would do. Just think about it. I mean, it's crazy. A transition, they're going to be transitioning the monetary system. I could tell you that. All right. Grain is up 100%. Yeah, that's why I say for people, like, look, if you had one raised bed in your backyard, you're going to make a difference in your life. I'm telling you, this is huge. Just one raised bed. And if you look at if I can remember the name of the channel now, I've talked about it before. 1 Yard Revolution. 1 Yard Revolution. He does videos, but he doesn't, like, very seldom he's posting, but he's got amazing things. And he's in Chicago, or at least he was last time I saw him. He's, does his backyard up so nice. It's a fairly standard sized backyard. He's got hoop houses that he made himself. Everything's DIY. He does it on the cheap. He grows right through the winter. So don't let the cold be an excuse for you, please. Let's talk about inflation. One of my favorite subjects, okay? Inflation. Oh, where do you begin? What I would say is people can do their best to mitigate the effects of inflation. They got to readjust their portfolio. They have to understand where their bills are going to skyrocket. Now, for people, some people are not going to like this, but look, if you had backup battery in where you are right now, you got solar panels, you've got the food supply, you've got the water catching, you've got water harvesting, you've got all these different things that, yes, they're upfront costs, but that's going to help mitigate some of the damage that's created by inflation. So you can, like, maybe inflation's 10%, but maybe it doesn't really affect you like that. Maybe it's 50% at some point, right? In 20 years, what has the overall trend has been? So I'm not sure which trend. Thank you for the support, by the way. I'm not sure which of the trends you're referring to. I mean, we're going inflationary, and if you're talking about 20 years into the future, then I would say we're going to be, there's no way the current system could withstand another 20 years of this. I think at some point we're going to see higher interest rates. So we've been going down in interest rates, but I think that now we're going to see at least a period of time in which there are higher interest rates. And this happens as a result of inflation getting way, way too hot. So you have a collapse. Whether, what happens next, I don't know. But there has to be higher interest rates at some point, and that's devastating because of all the debt. All right. There are so many, my goodness. Are rent prices going to go down? I've heard from people, many people say that they're going up already. And it makes the most logical sense. Thank you, my GPS. We love you, bro. Yeah, thank you for tuning in. Buy assets or pay towards student loan debt. See, that's the thing right now, because they're suggesting that, hey, we're going to wipe out some of the student debt. I don't know. Will they? Will they really do that? I don't know. I wouldn't want to pay the interest. I'll tell you that right now. That interest can get you good. Okay? All right. Okay, let me cover this one first. How will reverse repos enter the market? Well, because it's usually these reverse repos that are happening, it's just an overnight thing that it doesn't impact the markets like specifically over a period of time. What this is doing, what the reverse repos are doing, is basically the bank has this cash. They could be loaning out to businesses. They could be loaning out to individuals to get a return. But they feel that parking it at the Federal Reserve and getting almost nothing, this infinitesimal amount of return, is better, safer, and obviously the wise decision. And to me, that's weird. Why not loan it out into the system? And then you'd have, of course, more inflation. Banks don't care about that. What they care about is earning income the safest way. They don't want to collapse, right? So maybe that's what they're worried about. Okay, sure. My wife and I pay the mortgage off now. House is worth $900,000. We have the cash. We'll be left with $150,000 in cash. I cannot, Dirk. Thank you for the question. I can't tell you what to do specifically. You got to make that decision for yourself. But if you've got that interest rate locked in for a long period of time, you know you're good. You know that's not going to change. Where are you going to put that money? Are you going to buy another piece of real estate and rent it out? That might be an option. But in general, for a lot of people who just, they're risk adverse, yeah, for some people, the best thing to do is to simply just pay off the debts, make that happen, and not have to worry about it. But for others who are a little bit more sophisticated, they want the challenge and so on, they got to put their money into an asset. What asset? Well, I think you should have multiple types of assets. If you're in an area where the real estate is still reasonably affordable and there's jobs coming in, there are areas of Florida that they're reasonably affordable. There's other, Georgia, towards sort of that area, the southeast still has some level of affordability and the jobs are moving into that region. Maybe it's okay because you can get a property that cash flows on day one. That's the key. Got to cash flow. If it doesn't cash flow, don't do it, in my opinion. Hi, David. Thank you for coming on. Tractors are highly underrated. That's true. Tractors and all sorts of equipment related to it, right? Zoom meetings. We could talk about everything. Yes, absolutely. Ice Age Farmer. Yeah, I've heard of him. I've heard of him before. Actually, it's funny. I'll tell you this quickly. I emailed George Gammon 3 times. 2 different email addresses and one's on Twitter. I just got an email back from his assistant or something. I have it here. Let me pull that up. Adriana Rodriguez, George's assistant. This is Adriana, George's assistant. Hope you are doing fine. Thank you for being patient with my reply. We would like to thank you for your interest in having George, but unfortunately George is quite busy at the time. Thank you for having him in mind, perhaps another time. So George has rejected the Money GPS. So that's it. If anybody wanted George on the show, can't happen. And no hard feelings, by the way. But I just can't get him on. People ask me to get him on. I can't do it. So that's all. Speaking of which, I did an interview with Elijah Johnson from, I think it's Finance and Liberty today. So that will post in the coming days. I'll have that for you. All right. 10% growth in the last 20 years. Are you referring to real estate? Yeah, it's been doing well. There's no doubt about it. You don't the appreciation is the least important thing related to real estate. But yes. All right. Meme stocks. I know you're going to hate this, but I got to know your take on the hedge fund supposedly forced to cover their shorts. We heard a lot of stuff. Where is this information largely coming from? It's coming from Reddit. I know that can be pulled from here or there and so on. But I just see so much. It's nonsense. I mean, I can't. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not the best. I'm not the best person to ask for that. When it comes to the meme stocks, I think there's people have put so much money into the meme stocks and they do not know what to do with it. They're worried. They're afraid about it. I think that you're better off buying boring stocks. boring stocks. Tupperware stock might be a better stock than some of these meme stocks. It's boring. It's not going to come up in the news. Okay? I'm not saying to buy Tupperware. I'm just trying to make an example. Okay? Oh, that's awesome. This guy's fantastic, by the way. Thank you for supporting. You should be giving a donation. I think you should be giving a donation. I'm giving you a lot of attention here. I bought your t-shirt to wear my... I don't care what you do with it. That's fantastic. You should post it on social media. Give me some love on social media. I need that help there too. 460 people. I think it's I gotta note this. It's weird when people will subscribe to you they actually dislike you. I think that's the weirdest thing. I don't know what that's called. Like, is it sociopath? I don't know. If anybody knows what the term is, if you could put it in the comments, please. Would you do a one-on-one consultation for a fee? I stopped this a while ago because I felt a sense of because I can't give financial advice and so on, it's difficult for me. I don't know. If you email me, then we could talk through email. I think that's the best thing to do. If you join the insiders, you'll be able to get to me directly. When you email the insiders, you'll get to me, and then we can talk from there. Thank you. Feltima, I appreciate the support. What do you think will happen to the crypto market if Ripple wins a lawsuit against the SEC? Could it cause the banks to start running from the fiat? Appreciate your work, bro. One of the best YouTubers. Thank you very much. I don't think so. Personally, I don't think that's going to happen. I just think that they're going to decide the winners and the losers. I think right now there's going to be a lot of weakness in the markets, the crypto markets for the next little while, regardless. I think that once we get more miners to open up outside of China and so on, that's going to make a big difference as well. So I would be paying attention to those things at first. There's a lot of talk about Ripple, XRP. This is going to be the next big thing. That was in 2017. Then 2018, 2019, it kind of disappeared and it became, a fraction of what it was previously in terms of the dollar value. I want anything to be a challenge. Anything to be a challenge to these cryptos. And I support anything. So I don't know. I hope, but I don't think it's going to be the case. David, it's a genius. Oh, that's cool. Thank you. Thanks for that. I still see crash as deflationary. Yeah. So the way I see it is that, like what I explained earlier in the presentation, is like, yes, you have that it's pulling down. There is deflation for real, but it's being offset by the stimulus. And don't think that the stimulus you've seen, the trillions of dollars that you've seen, is what they'll do when the time comes. I'm talking about quadrillions coming into the system. That's the way it works. There's never been an example historically where they never took it too far. Look at Japan. Nobody buys it anymore. You buy in, you buy and sell. Maybe you get some swing traders or day traders. Nobody's buying into that country. It's gone. The country it's finished. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your support as well. Thank you all of those people. When will the credit markets freeze? We got to have some serious failures. I think, that sort of thing could start to happen if the commercial real estate side starts to have some serious problems. Absolutely. Oh my goodness, it's 43 minutes already. Okay. Thank you for the support. Has the property bubble finally popped in Canada? No. It had and this is shocking that it hasn't already. But ultimately, this can go on and it could persist for longer. There's no doubt. There's no doubt in my mind that it can go on a little bit longer. But the eventual disaster at the end of it just keeps getting worse. Keeps getting worse. The more that people spend in their houses, the less they have to spend into the economy. That's just the fact. But what's happening today is that people became rich because of their the equity in their home. So they keep pulling that out of their home, and that's going to be a problem down the road. They pull it out of their home to buy the BMW, they pull it out of their home to renovate the house and so on. And I get it. But so in Canada, and I'm sure many other places in the world, when you get a mortgage, you don't get for that 25, 30-year period. No, you get a mortgage. Sure, you're going to pay it off over the 25, 30 year more, but your interest rate is going to be, let's say, reevaluated at the 3 year, the 5 year period. So you're going to have to pay a higher interest rate at some point in the near future. That has been, it's kind of been down for many, many years, but it looks like the trend is, I don't know, how can it get any further down other than this? Should I max out my credit cards? Yeah, you got to. You got to do what you think is right. I wouldn't advise that, that's for sure. What is the safest asset to hold? I think the safest asset is to have more than one asset because they all do well at their given moments. If you look at Ray Dalio's all-weather portfolio, if you're talking about like mainstream type of analysis, Ray Dalio's all-weather portfolio is something that I would call more diversified than the traditional person in the industry anyway. All right. My goodness, the questions are coming in so fast. Housing inventory is on the rise. Yes, it is. I did read that. How do I know all of this? 10 years on this game, and what is it, 15 years learning about it. Would you pay a high interest? Yes. Yes, I would. Opinion, what happens on the 31st when the moratorium is over? Yeah, so I think they'll push it on further, or at least certain states are going to have certain rules and this and that. They can't just let it go because it's still, people are still I don't know what they're going to do. I can't really speculate, but I don't think that they're going to they're not ready to go off of that yet. Anything is possible, but I don't think so. Then we'll have the food bank lineups again, and all those problems will happen again. Land, food, and water, all good stuff. If you imagine you had a beautiful stream coming through your property, you bring that water in, you could filter that water, you always have a source of water. I mean, that's key right there. You've got lands, you can grow food on it, things like that. So it's awesome. All right. I mean, my goodness, there's so many. I love all these questions, guys. Thank you very much for coming today. Like, you're coming here for the Money GPS, but I'm coming here for you too. So we have about 447 people. Hit that thumbs up button, and we have 3,500 people in this room at any given time. What is your opinion on leaving Canada entirely for Mexico? Mexico has its advantages. You got to look at different areas. I have multiple subscribers from Mexico on my channel regularly commenting. They'd be a better person to ask because they're actually located boots on the ground. I know that it has many advantages. You can leave there, become, kind of like, I think it's one of those places that as a resident, you may have more advantages than the citizens in terms of taxes and so on. It's definitely cheaper. Cost of living is much, much, much cheaper in a lot of those areas. So you have that advantage. The weather is great. You can grow food all the time. But of course, you've got to look at certain areas are not stable. Thank you for coming on. Maybe people are trying to escape Mexico. It depends on the area. Depends on their financial situation. Just another brick in the wall. I think this, if my French is right, we're asking if there's any other Canadians. Any Canadians in the house? Canada, are you in the house? Hit that thumbs up button, Canadians. Many I know went to Mexico. It's incredible. Yes. If you're in the right area. Now the chat just, my goodness. I live in the Arizona desert. We have no water. Yeah, it's truly unfortunate what's happening. I mean, I've seen some of the images and things. It's unfortunate. Thank you. I think I read that one already. If we went back to a gold standard, wouldn't Bezos have all the money in existence within a couple of weeks? No, well, like first of all, I don't think they're going to be able to go back to a gold standard. They would lose control over the system. They don't want that. And would it be a problem? Yeah, it would be a huge problem for the banking system. I really don't think it's going to happen, at least not in the foreseeable future. Even if there is a collapse or a crash in the near future. All right, we're just another brick in the wall. That's the brick in the wall right here. What happens to life insurance policies if the dollar crashes 30,000? Yeah, so I think they may actually revalue a lot of things. Your debt could be revalued, like all things. There's all different kinds of clauses inside there that allow them to do anything. They could declare a national emergency. They could make suspend certain laws. They could do whatever they want, right? Don't think that any rules that we have in place today are not going to be changed tomorrow. Does a crash affect crypto or does it actually propel it? So I think what we can notice, like, you may love crypto, you may hate crypto, whatever. I think that what most people are paying attention to is the price. Most people that even bought it, they don't care. They bought on Coinbase, they just put their money in and it went up like crazy. They're happy, they're laughing, but they don't even care about cryptos at all. Most people, I would say 95% plus of the people that invested into it, 95% of the money that's in it. So the crash here that you see, it could be it's just pure 100% speculation. What's the cheapest asset you can invest in? Well, you could buy fractional stocks if you want. What effect do you think ESG investing will have? Well, ESG, right now, the primary ESG funds are made up of tech stocks. So that should tell you something. I was in Iran back in the days. Interesting. Nice. Right now they're dealing with some crazy stuff. Thank you very much for the support again. Is there an advanced AI pulling the strings at the highest level, stimulus interest rates that only the top people know about to keep things going? I don't think so. This is my opinion, that it's more compartmentalized, that you've got certain groups of people that are really deciding what's happening with the interest rates. Hey, everybody, we're gonna keep interest rates low for the next little while. Then you could start increasing. Then you could start increasing, and then slowly allow them to increase. Okay, and in terms of money printing, okay, everybody, we're gonna start doing a lot of money printing. I think there's a lot more coordination that happens on the central bank level, and that's just the way it is. But that doesn't really change anything. I think that's just the way it is. All right. Thank you very much for the support. Oh my goodness, 52 minutes. I'm going on too long. Can they ever stop Bitcoin? Yeah, so they can't stop Bitcoin. They cannot regulate Bitcoin. What they can do is the off-ramps. They can get the off-ramps, and that is the exchanges. The exchanges, the centralized exchanges like Coinbase are where they get you. But they don't want to stop Bitcoin. I actually don't believe that. I think that's really... I think it's a misconception, because they can tax it now. They can tax it very accurately for the vast majority of people. Anybody's made profit, anybody sells it. Coinbase is going to tell them, the other exchanges are going to tell them, they're going to make money, they're going to make revenue. That's what they want. I think there's another. Oh, awesome. Thank you very much for the support. I appreciate that. If I had that, there we go. That's the one. Thank you. Thank you. There's so many. Yes. Well, you know everything, right? So you tell me. You tell me. You've been calling it on the comments. You've been calling it on the comments every day now for a long time. So you would know better than me. Thank you very much, Euphoria Blue, for the donations. I appreciate that. Thank you. My mom has a mortgage. Should she pay most of it off in one shot? She has most of the cash now, or should she wait until inflation hits? What's the deal with inflation on mortgage and debt? Thank you. Christy Duma says, what up? All right. Thank you very much for that. Okay. This is a question that I answered in depth a little bit earlier. So number one, are you getting a fixed interest mortgage for the entire duration of that mortgage? It's a 25, 30-year mortgage. You're going to get fixed interest. If that's the case, then maybe you can hold off. If you're not a sophisticated investor, I would say, and you don't want any troubles, you just pay it off and that's it. You'd be done with it. If you're a little bit more sophisticated, you can go and buy other assets during this period that hopefully is getting you more return on your money. So if you're borrowing at 3% interest rate, but you're able to make 5% interest on the money that you borrowed, that difference, that spread is 2%. That's money in your pocket. Is it worth it for you? The stress and the debt weighs on your shoulders. That's a question that you have to answer for yourself. But I hope I'm making sense here. So it's all about a mathematical equation, but at the same time, it's what you're feeling. What do you feel is the right thing to do in that particular situation? Financially, because interest rates are so low and because you can get this debt super cheap, then of course you're going to want to take advantage of it, but you got to be sophisticated. You got to be ready to pull the trigger when necessary and so on. Hope that answers your question. All right. Thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate that. How do you feel about the MOAS? If you looked into it, and what are your thoughts? Do you think the shorts will cover it, or is it a pipe dream? MOASS. I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. Maybe I can quickly Google that. Is this to do with the Reddit stuff, the hedge funds? Let me see. The mother of all short squeezes? Yeah, GME. No, I don't. So I hope I'm not being... Like, I know that a lot of people are interested in it because, in my opinion, on Reddit and so on, there's so many people that have just dumped everything they have into it. And they believe that it's going to go to the moon. Can it go to the moon? I mean, yeah, maybe it's possible. But look what they did in the previous, like it was just going straight up, and then Robinhood shut it down. Others and exchanges started shutting it down, and they stopped it. They can halt trading on the stock. They could do things to basically take the steam out from it. Now, yeah, are there things going on that they don't really want to tell us about? Yeah, sure, we see that, absolutely. But I think people are really waiting for this thing to skyrocket. Maybe they bought too high or whatever. You can look into all that stuff on Reddit and get more information about it. But I like boring stocks. I like boring assets. I like things that don't move crazy. I want to get a smaller return over a very long period of time versus a huge return on something that may or may not happen. That's the way I look at it. But you got to ask, you got to do your own research on it. I think that's the best thing to do. I hope that answers your question. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you for the support. The fourth turning, no, I have not. And do you think we'll have a disorderly phase transition from our current monetary system that will result in riots and chaos? It is absolutely possible that is the case. I think essentially the food is, I think, the biggest problem. So if you see a problem with the food supply, that's when you got an issue. Okay, that's the biggest thing. So if they're not going to give people enough with the food stamps and so on, if the food stamps don't buy enough, then you got people, they're going to be doing what they do. I mean, look at what's happening right now. San Francisco, people are walking into stores. They're just walking out with stuff. Nobody even stops them. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Okay, everybody, I have to go. This is massive. All the questions here, I could not get to it all. My goodness. Thank you all for this. Thank you all for your time today. It's been an hour. It's been almost an hour. So David called the silver spike 2 years before it happened. I mean, you got to know what's going on here. I mean, it's pretty clear to see what goes on. It's like a private lesson. Thank you. Yeah, that's why I love this thing, right? I mean, yeah, it's going on an hour long, but you can ask any question you want. You can come in here. People are supporting me in this way, which is fantastic. I'm so grateful, and it's just, I think it's a win-win for everybody. I'm trying to create a completely different situation than what the other YouTubers are doing, where I feel like it's a lot of like this guru talk. That's my opinion anyway. It's like a guru talk, like, oh, I know everything, and I'm gonna tell you only what you need to know, and you've got to come to me because I'm the guru and so on. Whereas this is like us just having a conversation. Of course, I'm talking to a camera right here, but it's kind of like a conversation. In my area, real estate is appreciated by 300% in 10 years. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to see it. They say it would never go down, which is crazy. Everything comes down. Everything reverts to the mean. It's a simple matter of fact. Unemployment numbers are fake. I actually, if anybody wants to check it out, I have a I have a video. You type in fake unemployment, the money GPS, and you'll get it. I actually break down why it's fake. Thank you for your time. Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. We're getting all of this up here. Thank you. Thank you. Motivational talks. I would love to do a straight up motivational talk because of how much I've read and listened to the audiobooks over the years. 15 years of that, by the way, of motivational stuff that I've been hearing. So I've got a lot to share. I don't know if a lot of people are interested in that, but should have clarified. I live in Canada where you reside, and your mortgage rate when the term ends. Yes. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, in that case there, you can expect that, hey, in 5 years from now, interest rates are probably going to be higher. If they're lower, then I don't want to say you got screwed over, but certainly you didn't take advantage of that. In that case, yeah, you know, in this short period of time, I want to pay as much as I can. That's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. You wait to the very end of that term, and then if you got a lump sum, you pay it all down at that point there. But I mean, I'm not giving advice. I'm just giving what I think is the wise decision. Okay? Money GPS has got to go. I've been watching you a while. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yes, we're interested. Awesome. Favorite motivational speaker. I know it's classic, but I love Tony Robbins. I love Tony Robbins. Jim Rohn. There's Jim Rohn. Who else? Brian Tracy, all of the classics. Thank you, Barbara. Appreciate the support. Thoughts about crypto? If you type in the Crypto GPS, that's a YouTube channel you may not have known of. The Crypto GPS. I did basically maybe 4 videos, but one of them in there basically explains what I think about crypto. So I'm not going to post on that channel, but I just did that to separate it from my current videos. The Crypto GPS, you can check it out for yourself. Buying or renting real estate right now, you have to figure out the buy to rent ratio. You got to look at, hey, debt is cheap. How long are you going to take that debt for? If you can get the debt for 30 years at a super low interest rate, it might be worth it, but the prices are extremely high in many areas. Do you think Canadian real estate is in a bubble? Yeah, Jay, I talked about this just a little bit earlier. It's the biggest bubble in the world in areas like Vancouver, Toronto. Actually, I think Toronto is actually a bigger bubble, personally, despite the prices. Do you think the crash will happen August fall? Thoughts? Are you talking about the crash of the stock market? I'm not so sure 100%, but I'm looking for interest rates to be a catalyst for sure. There could be a big correction, though. Could be, I see a 10% correction. Do you sleep or just think and talk all night? Yes. I don't answer your question. No sleep because the truth doesn't sleep. How's that? All right. Got to go. Thank you for the insights. Yes, everybody. Okay. I'm going to go. All right. Yes. Okay, good stuff. Okay. I'm going to take off, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. I will be back tomorrow. I'm going to be back tomorrow. If you come on, I will be back. I will be here. Okay? So take care and